Silence. Let's get to the second part of the discussion. And you want to take a political tone in this particular time, because today we have a lot of echoes, insults, or statements being made in the political field. And as 2027 gears, we need to understand and ask ourselves, as we are going to the ballot, should we judge the president or evaluate the president based on the performance that he has done, especially in the infrastructural sector, or should we judge him based on the political rhetorics being said in the country today? Because you saw insults the other day, and the church is not happy with it. Madam Joan, what do you think about that?
Oh my God. In terms of the insults or an evaluation of the president, I want to say that there's a lot going on in the country. Since Ruto came into power, we are seeing the affordable housing that it's presenting a lot of job opportunities. And you know, the problem is when we look at the creation of jobs around the infrastructure space, we are thinking it's the mortar, you know, the building. That's all we think about. But we don't understand that there's a lot of raw material that comes from elsewhere to make this infrastructure issues work. There's employment. If you look at the performance of the economy, when the president came into power, the dollar was at 160. 160? Yes. Where is it at now? I want you people to respond to that. At 129. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? The economy has been stabilized. Foreign exchange is working better for the country. I come from the sugar belt. I come from Migori County, where we grow a lot of sugarcane, and specifically Awendo. We have had perennial late payments or not payment of sugar farmers for many years. My brother farms sugarcane, and do you know, my brother was paid for delivery of sugarcane last month within 2 weeks. Something that has never happened in this country in a long time. So there's a way that a lot is happening, but the political noise, for whatever reason, there's a lot of political noise that is going on. We are seeing the president today is in Kisumu. He's launching the SGR. We've talked about the SGR now with Kwame, and he's launching the second phase, or is it the third phase of the SGR? And I asked that question very deliberately, you know, whether he thinks the SGR is should be wished away as was. I don't think so. And I think it was the best thing for the president to decide to extend this SGR to where it's going to Kisumu and up to Uganda. The president of Uganda is in Kisumu today. Why? Because of the importance of that infrastructure, of the SGR that's going going on now. Why? It's going to open. It's an economic artery, you know, connecting coast to the hinterland within Africa, because we are seeing now we'll have passage of hauling of goods to and from the Congo to the ports of Mombasa. So I think that there are good things happening with this administration. All in how many years? 3 years. There's so much that has happened in 3 years. And I think, for me, the president has done a good job. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Mundalo, should we judge the president based on his scorecard or whatever he's saying in the political field?
Thank you, Adams. I think, first of all, I would want to say that there is a reason why we don't hold interviews to have a president. The president is picked through a political process. And because of lack of time, I want, with the Kwame here, I just want to reiterate that in everything, when it comes to running of the country, context must always be very, very important. Because whereas some things might sound very nice, especially professionally, but in terms of the context of approach, it makes it a bit different. Because I found the argument like when you're a husband and you're running a family and you have a Fuliza debt of 300 shillings and then you get 300 shillings and your family has not eaten, do you pay Fuliza or you buy food? And the argument the good professional is telling us is that you pay Fuliza so that you're debt free. But in context, I think what you require more is that you require to buy food, because that is the reality of context. Now, when it comes to the judgment of the president's work or the government's work, I believe that judgment of government and the president, who is always the head of that government, must be done on the basis of the promise that he gave the people. Because before anyone becomes president, before anyone ascends to that office, they come to we the people and they tell us, this is what I plan to do. This is what I'll do for you. So when we get to the end of their term or the near end of their term, our judgment must not be based on how we feel about them or how we feel about how they look or how we feel about their eyes or any part of their body. Our judgment must be based on what was the promise and what has been delivered. I have always never pretended to be one of the people who voted for this government. But as a Kenyan, the moment they became the ones in office, I had a cardinal responsibility to understand their manifesto. And I look at their manifesto and look at what they have delivered. I see that they promised this country the Hustler Fund. The country accepted and voted them in office. Then they delivered the Hustler Fund. I see that they were able to promise this country that when we get into office, we'll be able to create an infrastructure fund. It was part and parcel of that manifesto. Now, when they did that promise, the country accepted the promise, and that's why they voted for them, and then they became government. And when they became government, they were able to commit to that, and now you have an infrastructure fund. So whether it's good or bad is neither here nor there. The thing is, we accepted it at promise level, and it has now been delivered. This government was able to promise that when we get into office, one of the things we'll do is to reduce the cost of living. And we in Azimio took to the streets 2 months after they came into office on the basis of cost of living. At that time, the unga price was riding above 200 shillings. They promised that when we get in, we'll get this unga price down to 100 shillings. Today, unga is retailing at about that price, between 100 and 130. So that was a promise that was given. We, the people, accepted the promise, voted for them, and they delivered on that promise. I would say the same about fertilizer when it came to matters agriculture. I remember President Ruto on every podium, he kept telling us that, you know what, we must not be able to subsidize consumption. We must subsidize production. Do you guys remember that together with me?
Yes.
And when he said that, he insisted that what we were doing then, we in the Jubilee administration, with subsidizing the price of paying supermarket so that you guys can go and get a plastic price of unga that is not true, was the wrong thing. He insisted that what we were doing with subsidizing the price of petrol so that you can get a blanket, a plastic price on the pump, he said, no, that is not workable. And when he did that, he promised us, we accepted, we voted for him. And when he came in, what did he do? He was able to do exactly that. Today, we can be able to see that in truth, the fertilizer price came down from 7,000 to 2,500. Today, our reserves in maize production is very high. Today, we can actually be able to say that we are a food secure country because we have food in our reserves. Not because it's a statement by Mundalo, but it's a factual thing that we can all be able to check. Today, we are not queuing at petrol stations for fuel. I don't know whether both of you are here together with me when we queued in petrol stations because there was rationing of fuel. Now, that is not happening today, and it's a promise that was given, is a promise that is now delivered. I don't know whether the Rironi Mausami Road was part of the promise of this administration. But in my own judgment, I feel like that is one of the best things that have happened to this country. I don't know whether it's because I have a bias because I come from the Western region. Because we from the Western region have for many years slept on that road. We from the Western region have lost so many people on that road. If you're able to check very well, if you make use of your TV or your radio, I want you to go and check the rate of accidents in Kenya. And when the government, when the news is always reporting accidents that happen in Kenya, where is the part that most of those accidents happen? Most of those accidents always happen on that road. Meaning, subsequently, those of us from Western Kenya are losing more people in accidents than the rest of the country. So for me, when I am able to see that we can be able to have that road, I feel like it is a step in the right direction. I also ask myself, who is the biggest trading partner of Kenya?
Uganda.
And the biggest trading partner of Kenya is Uganda. Okay? Yes. That is where we are always selling to and buying from most of the time. But what has been our policy and what constructions have we done in terms of our infrastructure? We have built a road to go to Thika. We've built the Mau Mau roads. Nyeri. We've built the roads to Nyeri. Places that do not necessarily anchor our economics. These places do not have a heavy economic impact on the Republic. Yet the place where we have the biggest trading partner, we have always neglected this since independence. When a president and a government is able to think that that is a direction we should go, I believe that that's something that I must really applaud. When I can be able to see that today we are having an SGR that had ended nowhere, going somewhere, I must be able to feel that that is a step in the right direction. I don't know whether that is because I have a bias because I'm from Western Kenya, and I'm allowed to have a bias because at the end of the day, we put in governments that they serve us with our biases. Those are my biases. So I feel like, in truth, and as a young person, I ask myself again, the biggest problem of Africa and Kenya in specific as well is youth unemployment. This is a problem. I convene the Pan-African Youth Convention every year, and that conversation is always there on youth unemployment. All governments of Africa have this problem. So my question would be, what has my government done about it? And I'm able to see that, first of all, my government has trusted so many young people with very critical positions. I'm able to see that my chair of the finance committee is barely 35 years old. I'm able to see that the PS of youth affairs is barely 30 years old. I'm able to see that this government has been able to really take a practical step and say we'll be able to do this housing, and one of the reasons we'll do it is so that young people can actually get jobs. And I take a step to visit these sites myself, and I see people who are actually working there are so many young people, and I think that's a step in the right direction. I'm able to look at them and feel like, what have they done again on this youth unemployment? I see them doing the Nyota program, which is able to put money in the pocket of a young person who did not get access to university education so they can be able to start something. Yes, I am able to see a lot of criticism outside there, but when I observe, I realize that most of those ones who critique it are not interested in it and they're not beneficiaries. And money is relative. Whereas you can be able to be using 10,000 to actually eat your lunch, someone else might actually be needing that 10,000 to make their life better. So I see that that is a step in the right direction. I see them doing Kazi Maju. And I'm able to see that, fine, we are not yet where we want to be. There are so many young people who are still unemployed, but is government doing something about it? And I feel there's something they're doing about it. And so for me, I judge a government on the basis of the manifesto, the promise that they were able to give me. If that promise has been fulfilled, I judge and say that that government has done very well. If the promise has not been fulfilled, then I'm able to say, no, this government has not done very well. I have given you a scorecard as a person who did not vote for this government. I don't know what the one who voted for it would actually think. Thank you.
Thank you so much, advice. Brian, Tony, what do you think?
Thank you so much, Manuel. I think there are so many things this government has done, to the extent that advice has mentioned a lot, but I still have a lot more to mention. Now, for me, I'd look at it from the point of where Kwame left it. And when you appreciate the kind of budget that you have today, the budget making process, and even the debt burden that you're talking about, then you'd understand how important or the gravity of the matter, for example, in hiring 76,000 teachers. When you understand that we have a debt currently of around 12.3 trillion shillings, you understand that the fiscal space has shrinked a lot, so that actually creating jobs right now has become very difficult. But in light of that, the president has actually employed 76,000 teachers. We are seeing today they are in Kisumu for the launch of the second phase of that SGR. But you see, the problem with some of us sometimes, Emmanuel, is that I do not want to appreciate the facts. I want to reason emotionally. So I've been having a debate with some of my colleagues, and somebody will tell you outrightly, mi siwezi kubali hiyo because I'm in opposition. You see such things. Mi siwezi kubali hiyo because niko kwa opposition. So I think at the end of the day, we have to be emotionally intelligent enough to appreciate then the steps that this government has made to do these things. And somebody, the other time was also mentioning that we borrowed money, we privatized some of the corporations, and then the money was used to was put in the sovereign wealth fund. And I'm reminded today of what Chinua Achebe says in his book, No Longer At Ease, that shall we kill a snake and throw it away when we have a bag to put it? So I think the expert understood why they took that money and why it was channeled into that sovereign wealth fund. I think for me is to appreciate that there are indeed steps being taken by this government. And the president has been very careful in the manner in which he has been speaking. And every time I hear the president speaking, always, he is after launching a project somewhere. But the opposition normally, as they speak, you don't see anything they are launching. For them, they are on their only work is to issue insults. So the president, after launching a project somewhere, is when he'll get to the top of his paper and say, I've done this, and that. But the guy is in opposition always. It is a matter of insults and insults and insults. It reaches a point, Emmanuel, where you as a man also has to protect yourself. When somebody is speaking wrongly to your girlfriend, you have to go and defend yourself. You see, I think the president has shown enough goodwill that indeed he intends to take this country to the next level. There's no way a man can promise you that he will take you to Dubai. And he has not even taken you to Maldives. So at least the president we are seeing, he has taken us. Now we have Mau Summit to Ronnie Road. Even the SGR is coming. I've had so many failed relationships because I'm not able to deliver my promises in time. Because I promised my girlfriends that I'm going to see them in Nyanza, but now when it reaches 23rd, I'm stuck in traffic. But now that you're going to have SGR right from this point to Nyanza, I think now I'm going to be a prosperous man.
They're going to get married.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Tony. Mr. Widi.
I want these guys now to ask questions.
Yeah.
And
so that you will call me to answer some of them.
okay, and there's a lady in particular I want to give her a chance.
Okay.
Because she's the one that I think Tony is referring to.
Yeah.
Tony, una lady ulikuwa nataka hapa.
You can have this and raise your points.
You can even take her by flight now.
Yeah.
To Homa Bay.
You might go to Singapore.
Just
It's a question time.
A right of reply.
Okay, I've listened to Tony and I think he's begging the president to do work which he's supposed to. It's the president's duty to construct. It's the president's duty to work for this country. That's what I'm supposed to say. But you guys, the ones who are supporting the government, you are acting as if you are begging the president.
No.
Yes.
That's her point. Which is okay. That's how she views us.
Umemaliza man.
Anyway.
Just hold. Okay. Another person who has a question for the panel. Okay, you can have this.
Okay, thank you very much. I've been following on the submissions you have given, and allow me to say that as much as we are saying that the president has delivered, let us also accept that there have been shortcomings. These may include the deaths that we have witnessed before, the incompetence in government through the appointments, and mostly on the issue of capitation. As a student, money is being given late, and the universities have had increased debts. So as much as we say that the president has done this and this and this for re-election, let us also accept that. And again, I'm siding with Tony that as a man you have to stand to defend yourself. So even as the opposition is trying to criticize the president, we should avoid insults and work on facts. Thank you.
Good. Another question? Okay.
Mine is to echo on both sides. I would like to say that as Kwame has concluded that we have to accept the mistakes, and also we have to appreciate the part that has been done in the light manner. So I will say that when we are looking at everything, yes, let's look at everything and be factual. Let's look at everything and be realistic, because every person, when we are in leadership, every person have their own version. And this is where we have Kibaki's government, we have Kenyatta's government, we have Ruto's government. And his manifestos, when we go to how he explains things, it means that he needs also time to accomplish whatever he have accomplished. And if we look at him and look at his leadership, we can see that he has done some things and he has not done some things at the same time. So let's be factual and see the good things that someone has done and see the other side that they have not done. And in terms of leadership, I would like to say that let's look at leadership. Let's not be tribal. Let's not be people who are choosing one side, because leadership is the key. And as a leader, we talk about trademarks. We talk about legacy. If we go back to other government, actually right now is the time we are seeing that we had a good governor, or we had a good president. We use our Thika Road and you are like, oh, this is President Kibaki who did this, or this is President who did this. We might not see some things right now and see some things later. So I would echo on young people. Yes, things have been done and things are not yet done. So instead of coming and being enemies and also doing things that are not even going to change how things are, because the government is still going to continue working on the strategies that they have. Let's look at whatever solution, or let's get empowered from different leaders like the way we have here on the solution we can get even in the future. Thank you very much.
Last question for panels. Okay.
Yes.
This one.
Okay, may I have a question? And my question is, should we as citizens or as voters, should we prioritize the leaders' track record or their campaign promises?
All right. Before Mwalimu, you answered that, there's somebody who has sent me something that, according to Mzalendo, President Ruto promised 251 promises. And up to today, he has delivered completely 24. About 150 are ongoing, and 9 has since been modified, and 59 are under consideration. Given those terms, how should we judge the president?
Wow, it is me to speak now.
Yes.
Someone there wanted to speak.
Yeah.
I have the last question. Why do I feel that, I don't know if it's according to me, but I feel that those people who never supported the government before are now the ones actually supporting the government now. I feel that the whole thing has changed. Those who voted in the government, I don't know, they had high expectations or something. Yeah. But I feel like it is completely the opposite. The opposition now turns to support the government. When the roads are taken to Western, it's a good thing. Actually, all the Luos are supporting that. I'm not tribal though, but I feel that, why is it that it's exactly the opposite? Those who voted Ruto's government, kutoka Mama Mboga, are the ones complaining now. The ones who are not supporting the government initially are not the ones supporting the government. What's happening?
That's a good question.
Okay. I think
now that they are becoming many, I need to note.
That's a very good point to add to.
The last one, please.
I've been listening, and maybe I don't have a question, but I just wanted to respond maybe to her and to the other guy. So the main reason why maybe you feel Tony is now begging the president is that based on the actual thing on the ground, partly Tony is from the Nyanza region, that is, he has been raised in an opposition area since he was born. You see, that is a place that has been neglected for a very long time. As a matter of fact, in some areas, like for example in my own area in Karachuonyo, I think under Ruto's government is the first time we are seeing a tarmac road somewhere. You see, then again, we understand, we understand. You voted in the KK government, but now you feel like it's us who are praising this government. But for me, I feel like you maybe regionally, you see the infrastructure mkombele when it comes to some years back, tukienda hata attachment pale KRA ulikuwa unaulizwa jina. If your name is Odhiambo, Omonyo, something, unaambiwa kaa kando kidogo, nyinyi ni watu wa kurusha mawe. But as we speak today, I feel I'm a Kenyan, and I feel I'm part of this government, because you see CS Mbadi is there, Raymond Omolo is there. As a matter of fact, in Raymond Omolo's area, that is where I learned Oriwo boys. Kanyipir, Apo Mulagar, that institution, like ilikuwa inakaa to an old structure, but current it's a modernized. We have even the computer. So you see the level of education, we have also been enlightened. Na tumefunguka macho tukasema tuko nyuma. But this is the government yenye at least tunaona inatupeleka somewhere. For your case, you also have to understand that huko Eastern, Ukambani, bado mnasikiza Kalonzo. Hiyo ni that is a fact, si ndio? Venye sisi tulikuwa tunasikiza baba. By the way, ungeamka tu usikie Raila amesema ni hivyo. So the same thing, bado mnasikiza Kalonzo. Yes, he was a vice president, but currently I think it's now high time sisi kama mayouths pia, let's look at the future, because Kalonzo is old. In fact, my wish, ningekuwa MP, I could have even table a motion so that retirement age toke from the 60 kuja hata 50, because mtu amefika 50, he owns maybe apartments, he owns what. So anatumia tu the young ladies, the young generation to spend juana what to spend, but us as youth tunataka kufika huko. So I think this government is really taking us somewhere.
Thank you so much. Mwalimu, now the policy on country.
I think you have a mic. I have a mic. Yes. Take back your mic. Now there is this lady who was asking, should we evaluate the president or political leaders on the basis of what they promised or what they are doing? Is that the question? Yes. A promise anybody can give. Even me, I can promise you a red Mercedes when you get out here and you don't get it. We need to judge people by facts, figures, and logic. Performance. We need to see what have they done. And you know, an election is not like an exam. An election is a contest, a competition between two or more people. An exam, you can do one person and still pass. Or you can do it 100 people and all fail. But an election is a contest that one must win. Even if there are two bad people, one will win. Even if there are 100 good people, one will be better than the rest. So I believe we should judge people on what they do. But I also want to tell you that during campaigns, there are promises, there are covenants, there is pep talk. There are many things that we talk about during the campaign. If there are even wishes there, what I would wish if I was one. But the reality dawns once the Bible is down, because that is the first time you need to look at the treasury and see what do we really have. Can we achieve all these things? And again, if you want to evaluate somebody on the basis of that performance, there has to be a yardstick. The one you are using to say he has done well. Probably what looks like a lot is not good enough. And where do we get the yardsticks? For a president, you can only get from the past presidents, not the ones out there singing and promising heaven on earth. Wachana na hawa, they will promise you anything. In fact, they are the architects of serious propaganda. And I keep on repeating propaganda because majority of the information that we consume is propaganda. I told you the headline of the Standard, what it was. And nobody even wants to think about it. And also, there is a way of presenting figures. Because somebody walks here and tells you, you know, Moi's was 600, how come Ruto's is 12 trillion? First of all, what was the value of the dollar then? What was the cost of a bowl then? A bowl was 2,000 bob. Today is 50,000 bob. So we have to get at the relative cost of things. And what was that percentage? The whole budget for Kenya was only 500 billion. Yet Kenya still owed 600 billion. More so, there are things that grow. I can tell you that if it was, say, Uhuru who was the president in Moi time and Moi was the president in Uhuru time, maybe the debt levels would have still been the same because the times are different. The cost maybe would have still been the same. But how do we evaluate performance of people? Performance of leaders is the ability to solve problems of society before they become nightmares. Somebody who looks at a problem and tomorrow has a solution, that is the leader you have. Not one who goes to a podium to enumerate the failures of one leader without providing solutions. That is why I asked the expert, fine, do you think creating a sovereign fund from selling assets and other things to write off the debt is a good thing? Yes, he said it's a good. And how would you do it if you are the president? Now let me tell you a few problems Kenya has had which we were trying to solve. In Kenya, there used to be something called the Nithi Bridge. Did you hear of it?
I know Nithi Bridge.
It used to kill hundreds of people every year. What did President William Ruto do to it? Do away with it, and instead of that bridge, put a road that is flying in the air that is straight. 100 meters bridge. If that is not solving problems of society, then I don't know. There used to be a road from Nairobi going to Eldoret, Kisumu, Kakamega. Every Christmas, women and children would spend the night on the roadside. What does the president do? We are going to build 3 lanes on each side going that direction. And it is not only solving the problems of holiday makers. It is a stimulus to economic growth in that direction. When you build a railway and leave it in the wilderness in Naivasha, and I think for it to make sense, take it to where people live and where business is going to. Majority of the things that are supposed to travel on an SGR are imported goods. As it was only transporting goods imported into Kenya, actually into Nairobi. Now it is going to transport imported goods to Eldoret, to Kisumu, to Malaba, to Kampala, and to Jinja. It will now even increase revenue, even for this section that we had, which was raising 1 billion a year. Whatever it was doing to create 1 billion a year, additional is going to be done for Kisumu, for Malaba, for Jinja, for Kampala. So I foresee 5 to 10 billion a year. That is growth. Let us try to solve problems of society. In 2019, 2020, President Uhuru Kenyatta came with Big Four agenda and said, Kenyans are suffering, we want health care, which is free. Kenyans are suffering, we want food security. The Big Four agenda has and housing and manufacturing. Unfortunately, by the time Uhuru was leaving office, none of them was implemented. But when President William Ruto came, before his second year, SHA was in place. We will deal with how it is being managed, but it was in place, an initiative that would increase. And people think, I have had people, even very serious politicians saying, oh, why don't you take us back to NSSF? NHIF. NHIF is inside SHA, called SHIF. It is there, it is still there. And it is still doing what it used to do. It's only that SHA is an expansion of the healthcare system to now include infrastructure development, dealing with people who cannot pay at all to provide them with primary healthcare, dealing with the chronic diseases which were never handled by NHIF, those diseases that you can't treat, including cancer and AIDS. So when you people talk out of ignorance, you feel like crying, but you can't cry. You are an adult. So when you look at that, judge your leaders by how they solve your problems. But when they come and enumerate the mistakes of other leaders without providing a solution based purely on propaganda, then I think we are going to get it wrong. And you cannot know propaganda because propaganda is made tasteful. It is very sweet. When somebody comes and tells you that, you see, this is a very bad president, he ordered protesters to be killed. But when you listen to his speech 16 times, you still hear him saying, those who break shops, those who stone vehicles, those who destroy property, shoot them in legs, we take them to court. But your own media houses, which you trust and believe in, is reporting that thing 6 hours later that the president said shoot protesters. And they play for you the statement starting with the party says, such people. That is what they say. Just go, you will find it online. And you believe the media. Don't believe them. They can be captured. Albert Einstein once said that the day the rich will capture the media, the people will be unable to make informed decisions. You cannot make informed decisions if you rely on headlines like the one you see in the Standard. If you rely on the news that you see, look at Kenya today. Every TV station has about 2 to 3 programs whose primary goal is to smear the government of the day. Listen to News Gang. Out of the 4, is there anybody who can say, at least he has done SGR? At least he has, is there any of those 4? At the end of it, they read for you their take. Then, all of them, I've just given you one example. There are even those ones in vernacular radios like Kakawanene in Luo. When you listen to all of them, and they don't invite you, personally, I am blacklisted from all the TV stations because they don't want to hear the truth. Because when you challenge them, replay for me what the president said. Now replay for me your report. It's completely different. The only mistake we made as a people, we allowed corruption from a long time ago. So that people who have been in government and have made a lot of money can now use that money to create instability in the government of the day. That is the mistake we have made. Because we live in a society where there are inbuilt prejudices and biases, and we never foresee. Because we believe what our heart wants to believe. The things we don't want to believe, we will find an excuse for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oduor. And a round of applause, Mr. Oduor. And Mr. Oduor, we won't blacklist you here.
Thank you.
To actually support government. Because once a government is put in place, it governs all of us. Therefore, the success of any government means the success of the country, and therefore it means the success of all of us. But the problem, so because it has become untenable to continue saying they are doing nothing, there is now a new narrative that you are being fed on. Now the new narrative is this: it is their responsibility, we should not be praising them. And now we are falling prey to it. There is no place, I've not seen any government workers ask to be praised. I've not seen any president ask people to praise them for what they are doing. But now you are being made to believe that, you know what, someone has sat down and asked themselves, how do we run away from this conversation about what they have done? So let us tell our people that it does not matter. After all, it's their job. It's true, it's their job, it's actually true. But even at home, a reasonable man, when their wife serves them food, they say thank you. Not because it was not their job. A reasonable wife, when the husband provides, they also have the decency to say thank you for this bread today. So when someone is now moving you away from decency so that it helps their narrative, you must be very, very careful. And there's something about what you read about government promised 150 promises.
241.
241 promises. They have been able to only do about 24. So my question is always this. Between 24 that have been done and the over 200 that have not been done, which ones are the majority? The majority are the ones that have not been done, right?
Yes.
But the ones who are speaking about the ones that have been done always have them to mention. The ones who have 200 things to pick from never have anything to point at. And I ask myself, if you have 240 things that have not been done, for goodness sake, you can pinpoint at least 30. When I'm speaking, and I was able to talk about probably about 10 things, and my brother talked about a few others, I would want us to have a decent conversation where you are able to also raise up and say, what you've mentioned are just part of the 24. Now, let me give you a list of 120 that they have actually not done. But the problem is, the conversation is always like this. They have only done 24. They have not done 240. But nobody pinpoints the 240. And I've always told us in this panel that anytime you see that a point is able to excite your emotions, but it cannot narrow down to any fact, then know that that is propaganda. Because there is no way I can have 200 things to pick from. Look at it. Today we have over 7 opposition principles, right? The objective of an opposition leader is to take over the government from the current sitting president. One of the ways you do that is to highlight what they have not done. If there are 200 things to pick from, how come the only conversation you want to have is pointing at the things that have been done? You are talking about the gap in SHA. You're talking about the gap in infrastructure fund. You're talking about the gap in something else. Why talk about the gaps when there are 200 things that you can just pick and show people that they have actually not done? Why point at the gap? You can point at the reality of real projects. So the moment we run away from those kind of, let's not become easy and gullible to be bought into propaganda. And let us also not become the type of people who want to keep the politics of us versus them, because that is where the problem starts. When you listen to me, but in your heart you are telling yourself that you belong to opposition, no matter how long I speak, in your head you are seeing someone who is supporting government. In your head you are seeing someone who is an apologist of President William Ruto. In your head, and that blocks you from the truth. Because when I tell you today that Honorable Rigathi Gachagua was impeached on the account of tribalism, if you are you believe you are in opposition, you will think I'm against opposition. Because I'm saying something that is unpalatable to your emotions. But as unpalatable as it is it true or is it false? It is the truth. And that is why when my sister here, I'm sure my brother here said he wants to take her to Nyanza because she's from the eastern region. I'm sure that she must be very agitated when the president says there is no road that goes to Honorable Kalonzo's home. The conclusion would be that the person saying it is against Kalonzo Musyoka. But if we want to be objective, we ask ourselves, is it true or is it not true? Okay? And when someone says, President Ruto today is building a road that is heads to Seikuru, which is the home of the former Deputy President Kalonzo Musyoka, when I say that, you are going to be ached and think that I support President Ruto. I don't support President Ruto. It is the truth. So for us to make sense, let us first of all move away from the legacy politics of us versus them. When we move away from that, we will be able to look at things more objectively. When we look at things more objectively, we will be able to get a better leadership that we actually deserve. And that's why I like the person who asked, should we be able to elect people based on their promises or based on
the performance?
On their performance. And I'll be able to say both. Because there's a promise that can be made, and both you and me can see that this is hogwash stupidity. It's not true. Okay? And also we must ask ourselves, who is the person making the promise? So when we look at the person making the promise, whereas we cannot know whether they are saying the truth about what they will do, but we can be able to say, have they had some responsibility before? So we'll be able to look and say, Honorable Matiang'i has had some responsibility before. How did this country change? Courtesy of him. We'll be able to say, Honorable Kalonzo has had some responsibility before. Yeah? He's been in government for over 30 years. So how did this government change because he was Minister of Foreign Affairs? How did our parliament improve because he was Deputy Speaker? How did this country change because he was Vice President? Then we'll be able to cascade downwards and ask ourselves, okay, now we are having the others as well. So when we get to that fact, we will be able to make reasonable decisions. When we avoid those emotions, we will point at every of them and ask, this is Eugene Wamalwa. How many portfolios has he held before? So when he was Minister of Justice, so how did this country change? How did our judiciary transform? This Eugene from the Western region, how did Nzoia Sugar become better when he was in government then? How did Mumias Sugar then become better? Because he was part and parcel of the government. We'll be able to look at all of them, including people like Maraga, and ask ourselves, apart from annulling a presidential election, so how did our judiciary become better? Were cases expedited in perfect time? Were people able to get justice quicker? That way we will be able to get the right leadership. But for as long as we keep the narrative of us versus them, and before you listen to anybody, you have already decided where you are. By the way, there's nowhere called you are in opposition or in... Where is that? Where is the door that leads people to I am in opposition? I am in government. Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause for Mr. Mundalo. No, because you're pressed on time, okay, I'll give you a chance, Madam Jan, but I need to give Tony first. Tony.
Oh, I start on
Yes, you start on yes.
Thank you so much. I think starting from where advice has left it, making others look bad does not make you look good. So in whatever happens, make sure that you are able to provide a solution. But then again, some of us are in very toxic relationships, such that you are with a very good person, but because of the toxicity of your previous relationship, you are not allowing yourself to be loved properly. So somebody talked about education, and I know there are problems, and we are one of the poor in other states. And one of the main reasons why we are having the new education funding model was as a result of the debts we are seeing being accumulated by the universities. And I think even recently there was another report that was also released where we have got universities still wallowing in debt. Because the other previous funding model where you are giving a blanket capitation equal for each student was the one that led to these universities amassing these huge debts. So what did we do? The new administration came up with the higher education funding model where they had a means testing instrument where you try as much as possible to eliminate any form of human interference to determine the level of need for each and every comrade. And I think it is very fair. And even the world of empowerment has moved from equality to equity and now to justice, so that you're only given support according to your level of need. And it is the same thing actually even for SHA. SHA right now has covered over 2.3 million Kenyans. So it is more inclusive as compared to the other method whereby now, even if you're not employed formally, you're still able to make your monthly contribution and then you're covered. And I even highlighted in the previous session that we have colleagues who were treated in hospital only owing to the fact that they have been registered with SHA. So some of these things you only need to try them. And then I know you are saying that you are begging the government, I don't know for what it has done. But remember, we have had administrations where these basic things we are talking about have not been done. So when we celebrate them, it is actually in recognition of the effort that have been put in place. Perhaps you should also tell us whether you're also begging the opposition for what you have not done. And then some of us normally believe that we always have to argue from a point of I am a citizen and there's the government somewhere. You don't know that you are also constituting that government. And one day you could also be a women representative somewhere. You could be a member of parliament. You'd want people to give you time to execute your mandate. So as we look at it from, as we try to criticize the work that has not been done, also assume that one day you are in a leadership position. Some of the main reasons why governments are failing is because you have not even given me time to perform. Unaona, tumeingia kwa relationship leo, already umeshaweka standards tu, unaona. So give me time to perform, unaona. You have a president when ameingia 3 years down the line, he has already tarmacked the road to your mother's granary, unaona. So let us give people time to perform, because one day we mwenyewe pia you will be in that office, you could be the president someday. So usiangalie tu from the point of I'm the citizen. There's a bill in parliament currently about demonstrations. And while we are coming up with a proposal on the same bill, I remember my colleagues were always looking at it from the point of sisi ni waandamanaji, unaona, but not from the point of my father could be a police officer, ama tomorrow I might also be a police officer, and the law needs to serve all of us, India. So we need a law that is going to protect you as the citizen, but it is also going to protect the policeman, unaona. Things, for example, that the maandamanos have to take place in between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. They are also meant to protect you. Wakora wakiingilia maandamano alafu wakuattack, you see. So at the end of the day, I know tuko kadi, let us continue registering, but there's no point in registering to vote if you are still going to have the same mentalities. Let us be people who are moved by facts and people who are moved by what is actually implemented on the ground. And we have talked about propaganda also on this forum. Which sites can you use to verify the information that you make? Unaona. So I believe there are those sites unaweza enda uangalie. Okay, the president says he has done this. Is it true? You can even make an effort. I was in Dewa yesterday and I saw those tractors carrying sugarcane. Na watu wanalipwa huko, people are doing farming. Lakini if you're somebody who is just within Nairobi, Utoki, kazi tu, you are with your Wi-Fi of your mother in the room, you are using to blog there, you are just hurling insults left, right and center, you are not helping the country, you are not helping yourself, you are helping no one. Even that opposition, you are not helping it. And then lastly, now as I finish, I wanted to say, there's a notion in this country whereby the government is not working because I'm not benefiting. Because I've not been employed, unemployment is very high. Indeed, it is very high and we can all see it. But some of the times the problem is with you. Are you employable? If I ask you right now, what can you do? What skill do you have? I'm an electrical engineer. I can do installation, I can do repairs, I can do monitoring, naweza fanya troubleshooting, vitu kama hizi. But huko tu na degree. Mimi nimesoma, the government owes me money. Even the constitution says explicitly that the government will promote access and will take affirmative action if need be to promote access to government employment opportunities, unaona. But the responsibility, the fundamental responsibilities of government, unazijua, things to do with health, education, security. Not see that the government sasa is fight party employment. No. Capacity of government can it employ all of us. So let us take the responsibility upon ourselves. For once, let us stop blaming someone. For once, let us hold ourselves accountable. Tujiulize, how can I make myself employable? How can I give myself an opportunity? But even as I criticize the government, how am I also contributing in providing a solution? Sindio? Asante.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for Tony. Yeah, Madam John, you can now give us your final remark.
I'm actually coming back because I want to protect Mwende. I'll call her Mwende for now because I understand she's coming from Eastern. Yeah. I think you people are misunderstanding what Mwende is saying. She's seeing us here seated and we are just talking about things that government has done well. And she feels that there are certain gaps, you know, that may exist. And I think that's the reality on the ground. We cannot all be perfect. But you know what, and maybe just to also connect it to the gentleman behind there who spoke about, you know, things, people shifting, the people who voted Ruto, wameenda upande huu. And it's because of what Ruto has done, the Ruto administration has done, that you see he's been persuaded to come this side. So Mwende, I think you just need to open your eyes, come and speak to us very privately and we'll tell you how things are happening. I've actually mentioned that in my village now, sugarcane farmers do not have to wait for 5 years to be paid. He's mentioned Karachwanya is where my mom came from. I'm from Kansas as well. Things are happening there. There are roads, schools have been upgraded, and that's the reality that we have in that part of Kenya. It's the reality. And that's why you see there's that change. I do not understand. I don't know. Are you from Central? So maybe you can tell us what is it that you anticipated, exactly, honestly, for the administration to do that is not doing so that they're here. Because we are happy because there are so many things that are happening. That road, that Mau Summit Road, it's a game changer for people who come from that side of Kenya. We sleep there for 48 hours during festive season. It's a nightmare. So when that road is built, mtashanga ile ngoma itatoka huko. It will be better ngoma if tashanga, and it's something that we are really waiting for. So when an administration decides to speak to the problems of a community, they will surely change their minds. So Mwende, I hear you. The bench is not necessarily begging, and you're right. We should not beg government, to do things. We pay taxes and government should. And that is exactly why we are talking like this. Because now we don't have to beg. Government is treating us all equitably. Yeah.
A round of applause for John.
He has a reply.
You have something to say because we were pressed of time, please, under 1 minute.
Excuse me. 1 minute.
Yes.
They don't need to go back with the questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lakini make it long. Let it not be a speech.
Yes, make it short.
Under 1 minute, please.
Okay. So thank you so much. I've heard all the contributions from Walimu to Tony, Mr. Mundalo, and Madam there. Not necessarily that I come from Central, but I know about Central. And I also know about Nyanza and Western. A little bit of it. But as I check the bench there, Nyanza and Western is well represented, Mwalimu. So that is very nice. Mwende here, there's a friend of mine who talked about His Excellency Kalonzo that is very old. I guess it's not older than Oburu. And Oburu is calling himself a Gen Z. I wish that our name is not tarnished in that manner, because we should really differentiate about the Gen Z. And if it comes Gen Z and the power they want, that's something of the different caliber. So one I would like to say that this lady talked very well and said that we should not beg the government to do what it's supposed to do. If the government only said the government cannot give us employment, true, it cannot give all of us employment. Why is it building houses for all of us? There before people are living. People are living. It's coming the notion of saying it's building better houses. Yes, that's true. But these houses are not only built in slums. But they are there, affordable housings are there. But they're also in other places which are not slums. Like in Central, there's affordable housing there, and there are no slums. There are no slums there. In Kisumu, every part of this Kenya, affordable housing is happening. So what she's trying to say is that let the government deliver the mandate. Let us have an accountable government. Let us all not say I'm in opposition. Let us say, yes, I feel the government is doing this because it is what should be done. It is the right thing to be done. So, my friend here wearing a very good tie. I feel that you should understand the differentiation between ages, and this is a matter of accountability, not a matter of age. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can also become a leader of tomorrow and maybe get the power.
Amen.
Yeah.
I would first like to say that I'm a youth leader, and I would conclude with some few things, because I thank this program first because you can be able to express yourself. Either you are in opposition, either you're not in the government, either you are neutral, you have the chance to talk out whatever you feel. And I would like to say it is not even about leadership, it is about the solution that you are bringing, because we say we are the change. And change starts with you. We can look at things and we see that in real sense, there are things that are not happening in the right manner, and there are things that are being done. Because if you can try to prove, yes, you can see that he has given whatever he promised in some parts, and in the other parts he has not already concluded. So I would like to even encourage young people, let's not mostly concentrate on some things that are not even giving solutions. Even to my opposition part, I would like to tell even to our leaders who are on the seat and who are even aspirant of 2027, I'd like to encourage these people. Let's not look at the aspect of being tribal, being this is doing, this is not doing. Let's look at the factuals. Because you have talked about Matiang'i, and I think I can give a legacy about Matiang'i in education sector. That is what we call leadership. So even to those who are aspirant of 2027, let's be leaders. Let's not go because there are notions about this part, about the others, about what people are saying. He's saying that because that is what is in his mind, and that is what is favoring him, and that is what is his aspect. And you have the right of speech to talk about whatever you feel comfortable with. But at the end of the day, we don't look at who is on this side, who is on that side. The facts remains the facts. It is done, it is not done. So as a youth leader, I really encourage young people, even being an aspirant of 2027 or not, let's look at the leadership, because let's not the leadership start the moment you want to be a leader of 2027. Let's see what you have done some few years ago. Mimi nimekuwa kiongozi for some few years. I have an organization, and what makes me a leader is what I have done, not what I want to do. Have I gone and beyond whatever I can do, and maybe can I bring even 10 people together and bring a solution? Listen to them. That is what we call leadership. So tunasema uko kadi, hii kadi unaongelea kuhusu, is it something that is making sense? Because tunaweza sema sisi wote tuko kadi, but at the end of the day we make the same mistake that we have been doing. It is not about 2027. It is even about learning from the history that we have been having. So I'm really encouraging young people. Hii kadi unasema we uko kadi. Which decision do you want to make? Which change do you want to make? And a little bit, I would go back to Maandamano. I'm happy, and we should have these programs as many times as we can, so that people can really express what they see. Because I might be having the solution of 2032. Because if you look at our former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, whatever he did is his version. Whatever the current president is doing is his version. So everyone is coming with his own version. And that is why it doesn't have to conclude with their version. So I would like to say that we should be very careful. Let's not go because of emotions. Time ya maandamano tulishindwa juu ya kitu moja. The reason why we were left without doing whatever we wanted to do is two things. Strategy. We are not strategic as young people, and everywhere I go and I'm given a chance to talk, I tell them, be strategic, be realistic. Whatever you're talking about, is it a fact? Is it something that is making sense? You know, sisi wote tunaweza kuwa opposition, we are pointing out. Yes. Tunaweza kuwa we are in the government, and we are also talking about the other side. But at the end of the day, what is the fact thing that we are talking about? So I encourage young people, hii kadi unachukua ni kadi, ita make change gani? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. The last one, please. Or do you have anything? No, the last one and the 1 minute.
Okay, my name is Oduor Bunde. I didn't have a question because it's very difficult to question a government that is trying. I remember last year when I attended an interview in TV47. I think I was so ignorant, and I was opposing the government. And I think Will Brother, she was the one interviewing me. She asked me a very simple question that justify why are you opposing the government? I really lacked words, because at that time is the time when the government took office, and the Kenya Kwanza took office after the COVID, I think after the COVID-19, when we have some economic strain. At that point, the government imposed. Let me start from healthcare. The government imposed a SHA, which is really working. I don't want to emphasize on that because it's already been said. Or economic wise, I think at that point, from that point up to the time I was attending my interview, the inflation reduced from I think 9 to 6%, and I think Kenya right now is the largest economic wise in Africa. And
East
and the largest in East Africa. I think so. So I think the government really trying, and to question it is a bit difficult.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, 1 minute, please.
I think there's a communication gap, because the conversation we're having here, we're having it as a very small percentage of the Kenyan population. And that is the biggest problem that any government faces. Because a government can be working, but few people have these conversations and few people understand that the government is working. But there's the 90% of the population that is being fed information that we have learned here is propaganda. And I think this is also something or an area where we should be able to hold government accountable, because they have the capacity to teach people on civic education, to teach people on how to understand how government works. And that is where I think, as a Gen Z, government is failing. I'll give an example of the name that we have given President Ruto. We call him Kasongo. We call him Zakayo. Has the government understood where that came from? Because we felt that taxes were punitive. We felt as though the cost of living had gone high. But instead of government teaching people that the reason why we have made certain decisions, which has resulted into the cost of living going high, it is either they're quiet or, in fact, it is like they're quiet, which then makes us think government is not working. So you see, government might be working, but what we're seeing here is nothing, right? And that is the same thing that happens in terms of regimes that are in power. They might be working, they might not be working, we don't know. But the opposition is very strong with propaganda. And especially in the age we're in with the internet, they understand that. So they're using it to their advantage. Government, which has capacity to educate, is very, very quiet. And that is a problem that I think the political class, Mwalimu, should talk to government about. Educate people, because we can be here talking about the same thing over and over again. To us, we understand. But Mama Mboga haelewi, that child who is waiting for the government to work for their education is not getting that information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and a round of applause for the audience. I want Ms. Joanna, as you give us your final remarks, to respond to my friend there, the gap in communication between the government and the Republic of Kenya citizens.
Thank you, Gen Z, for bringing that up. And to some extent, it's true. I think government is not good at communicating progress. A lot. I mentioned that there's a lot of political noise that's going on in the country currently. SHA is not, the people are saying SHA is not working. Affordable housing is something that is being imposed on us. Agriculture has not succeeded. Inflation is high. Cost of living is out of place. And government is not specifically, responding to those. I will take an example of Rwanda, for example. The president of Rwanda is, takes time to go and have very people-centered barazas to just get a feel of what the citizens are going through and acts on them. And I think it should be something that the president is doing more all over the country without necessarily having, the big, what do I call them? the big rallies that we have. And sometimes he doesn't have to even announce when he's doing some of those. He can appear. I'm sure his security apparatus or his office can be able to do that. Communication, there's a gap in communication, Gen Z. I agree with you. And it's something that I've discussed in another space, that there's need for us to have very clear communication from the government side. This is part of also that communication we're talking about, because it's feedback. And I hope that government can be able to take such, meetings or such convenings very seriously, because it's feedback. What each of us has said here, if I was in government in a position whereby I'm supposed to be listening at the pulse of the country, I would take all your, all your comments, all your criticisms, and all your praises from this space and synthesize them and connect it with what everyone is saying in the country and be able to come up with a program. And Mwalimu, I think it's something that you need to probably pick up and being somebody who is close with government and just ask them to try and speak to the young people specifically. I don't think Gen Z language is being spoken very well to them. And they have given us feedback. I'm getting feedback. She's saying we are praising government. She's saying that we need to give leaders time to show us what they can do. He's asking, why is it that people who supported Ruto on the other side and people who didn't? That is communication to me that should be taken up very seriously. Government needs to actually up its game on that. That I agree with you. Yeah.
A round of applause for Ms. John, please. Yes, Mr. Mundalo, your final words.
Thank you very much. I think it's been a very candid conversation. We can always continue to do more on our fact-checking, on our getting things into perspective. Mwaniki talked about why is affordable housing also happening in areas that are not slums. And the imagination sometimes is that the only people who need houses are the ones in the slums. I would want to challenge you, because even we in the Azimio time, at that time, housing was one of our primary. It was one of the pet projects we're selling to the country. And one of Africa's biggest problems, go and check by statistics, is the problem of housing. So, your point sounds good, but it might not necessarily be realistic. I want to challenge you to go and check some of those affordable housing units out of Nairobi. Yesterday I was checking the Ruiru sub-county affordable house. That is not in a slum. But I was shocked that it's not completed, but it's 100% taken. So sometimes also we must be keen as young people, because even those ones who feed us propaganda, they don't consume it. They will tell us that the affordable houses are bad, but they are buying them. Because who bought those houses in Ruiru? Who bought those houses in Pangani? Who has bought those houses? I want to challenge you to go to your own county, to your own place in Nanyuki. There is an affordable house there. I was there and I checked it. It's also 100% taken. Who are those people buying these houses? So be very careful, so that at the end of the day, always know that sometimes the person feeding you the propaganda is not necessarily consuming it. It's like the one telling you Sha is bad. Most of them have it, but they have told you it's bad. So it's important to actually take the information by yourself. I agree that there's actually sometimes a communication gap, and I am one of those proponents who have kept saying government needs to communicate better. The people who are in charge of communication in government need to come out better to make the public understand exactly what they're doing. But it's also our responsibility as the people to try and understand what government is doing. I always say it's easier to blame others, but let us also try and understand what exactly are they doing. Remember, there's something today called algorithm, my sister. So sometimes when you're consuming too much propaganda, it's only the propaganda that comes to your timeline. So even when Mbadi is on Citizen TV for 3 hours, it will never come to your feed. So you'll always believe nobody in government is speaking. So even if the other people are speaking, you will never hear them, because your consumption of social media has understood that you love negative news. So it only feeds you with that. And then you think the whole country is consuming that. That's why it's very, very important that you feed your database right. You're able to ensure that your algorithm is right. And that way, you'll be able to have better consumption of exactly what is happening. It is not about you being for or against. It's about you understanding that if I get the right thing done, if I get the right information, then I'm at a better place to move the country forward than if I just sit and consume. And also remember, no government, and I stand to be corrected, no government has won the war on communication against opposition. The only people who have won the war on communication against opposition are dictatorships and authoritarian regimes. Because you have a president, my sister, who should be able to have a meeting tomorrow morning with the United Nations. In the afternoon, he should be addressing parliament. He should be meeting stakeholders. And then you have an idle opposition who wakes up and every day they have all the time to feed you with whatever it is. Yet the government must be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. So I haven't seen any government that is democratic that has actually won the war on communication. So it is also our primary responsibility to try as much as possible and consume better information. I don't want to be too verbose because I want to believe that Mwalimu must have spared tea for these people.
A round of applause for Mr. Mudalo, please. Yes, Tony, you can give us your final words.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for the opportunity. I think this has been an incredible audience. One, I think I'm very much impressed by the sentiments by the lady. It shows that indeed she understands what is taking place and she is representative of the other young people. So I think what Gen Zs are proving that indeed they're active participants of what is taking place in our country, and I really want to encourage all of us to continue in that trajectory. The other thing I want to say is be very careful which side you choose. Because when you look at people, for example, some of the people I believe in, I look at Julius Malema, for example. This was somebody who stayed in government for a very long period, serving as the youth leader of the ANC Youth League, to a point where he understood how government operates, and now today he has been able to found his own political party. So I do not want to engage in opposition because I also don't want to be a perennial opposition leader. I want to run government one day. Yes, so let us start preparing ourselves for government. Let us stop preparing ourselves for opposition. The government has a lot of space for the young people. Actually, when you come to the government, there's space for everyone. So I welcome all of you because politics is an art of persuasion. Sindio? Tujeni huku tupange kazi and then let's see how it goes. And lastly, tuchukue kura, tuchukue kadi, because I realized one thing, that the politicians right now, they don't value us a lot. Why? Because they believe that the Gen Z demographic is very transactional. Unaona? So tuchukue kura so that we can even have our own people being elected, and they'll take us seriously. But the moment to go kadi lakini hawaoni, sindio? Otherwise, thank you so much for the opportunity. I think what this program really does is opening the eyes. And I want to challenge each one of us that whatever we have gathered from this point on, let it then cascade into the grassroots, to the common Mama Mboga. I know most of you are comrades. You must have frequent interactions with the Mama Mboga, Cindy. Yes, so thank you so much, and may God bless you all.
Round of applause to Tony Blair. Yes, Mwalimu, you can have your say.
There were a few things here that I wanted to weigh in on. There was somebody who asked here a very profound question. Why is the government building houses for all of us? You want to answer that? Okay.
Yes, before you get exact information, I think when we are always coming to question the project of the government, we need to understand the directions that are taking place there, since something like affordable houses, sisi majenzis tunapinga, but do you know how it falls to the government? One, kuna kitu inaitwa sustainable development goals. We have goal number 1 to 17. Hapo mebeba affordable housing, iko kwa sustainable cities infrastructure. We have zero hunger, we have poverty, we have education. So ukisikia Ruto nasema health, si project ya Ruto. Hizo vitu, it's not always the government project. So like you affordable housing, it's a global mandate that we improve lifestyles. And to improve lifestyles is by improving infrastructure and our living environment. That one is being started by sustainable cities, good roads and housing. So usiseme the government is building houses and it's not a priority. even tunasemanga God give me roof over my head first. Ukishapewa nyumba, then you can think how you can eat inside there. You can have a place for yourself to go. You can think peacefully. You know, you say you don't need a house, but haujakuwa homeless. No, you've never been homeless. That is why you say you don't need a house. So if you've been homeless for even 2 days, utajua hata mabati juu yako ni muhimu. So when you see the government is building houses, see ati Ruto na supply venye iko huko. It's a global mandate. It's a sustainable development goal that should happen across the world. Si project ya Kenya peke yake.
Thank you. Yo, beba tu. I know you are dying to say something. I will let you say something. Yes. Okay, say it before I...
Briefly, please, because you're pressed to time.
No, we are not going to deny you.
I want him to conclude with my question, not even a question. Thank you very much for this program, and I hope we are going to have so many, so that we can be able to give our perspective to the government. But first, I would like to, because we have leaders like you here, and we are the leaders of tomorrow, and we have to watch you. We have to watch the mistakes that you do and the good thing that you do, so that we can learn and be able to change in the future. I would like to ask you, how would you encourage young people? Because we can see we have a big gap in communication in some of the government and the Gen Z, or the government and its people. How would you like to encourage these young people to be the good leaders? Because we might be here talking about the bad thing, the good thing, and we are not even bringing the solution. So, unajua, if you want to reach somewhere, you can't tell me to go to archives and I'm very thirsty and you don't give me a bottle of water. Just give me a cup of water so that I can be able to make some steps to archives. So what would you like to encourage young people? Thank you very much. I'm Shiko Njoroge from Kiambu County.
Wow. Thank you, Shiko. So, Shiko, I have heard you. And I have heard the good answer that is given by my chairmate, your desk mate today. But many things that the government does, they are not done for specific people. Yeah. President Uhuru Kenyatta introduced railway levy, and anybody who was importing anything, consuming any imports, paid it. But I can tell you, more than half the country will die without ever using that railway. Governments are there to put communal things for us to share. You may be a very serious consumer of education. He is a consumer of the roads. Somebody is a consumer of the hospitals. And somebody will consume those affordable houses. One of the reasons why the affordable houses were increased also is to reduce the cost of renting houses. Not really to give people. They can even be there not given to anyone. But if they are available for renting, that oversupply will create a lower cost of renting houses. That is why they are affordable. And all Kenyans will always contribute to things, even the ones they don't consume. There was a time I told this congregation that I was at school in Form 4. And during that year, my then principal, Mr. Were, said, all students are going to contribute to buy a new school bus. Being in Form 4 and it was remaining one term, I collected all my fellow Form 4s and I told them, you know guys, we are not paying for this. By the time they'll buy this, we will be long gone. So my principal called me nicely because he knew once he's talked to me, I will talk to the rest. He told me already, you've been here for 4 years and you used a bus that you did not buy. What do you think about this? Buy it for the others to come and use. That is how we share as a country. You cannot say that I am not going to vote for President William Ruto because he built Talanta Stadium and mimi ni Kiwete. Or he built a road to Nyeri and I always go to Kisumu. We don't operate like that. We are a country, we can share our resources. You contribute to one that helps Otieno and Odongo, and Otieno and Odongo contributes one that helps Mwangi and Kariuki, and that's how we live in a joint community. If I leave that, there are certain things that in propaganda we call them glittering generalities. There are things like change, we bring liberation, we bring affordable. Those things are called glittering generalities in propaganda. They are used to sway people and to raise emotions and to create hope to people. But they are not things that you can rely on. Why do we have to keep on changing again and again and again, even when we have gone to the election and elected a president we want? All you need to do, give the 5 years and mark the exam after 5 years, not after 3 or after 2. There are certain people in this country who are enjoying one single item that promoted them. For example, there was a time we were so excited about one man called Maraga. And if you are told to write a scorecard of Maraga, you'll only say he reversed the election of 2017. And there's a man called Matiang'i. You will say, oh, Matiang'i, when he came in, he appointed a man called Magoha, who is no nonsense, who ensured that exams were no longer stolen as the chairman of Kenya National Examination Council. But sometimes when you go back, you'll find he introduced yellow buses without public participation. He changed the police uniform without public participation. He ignored 12 court orders, deported Miguna, and many other things. So let us be very careful. You know, people, once we have sold to you the badness of a person, your anger builds, it reaches a level you begin saying, hata tukipewa ubwa tutampigia kura. That is where the propagandists want you to reach. We should compare people. So if somebody wants to tell you this leader is bad, who is better? Then we can weigh. Yeah? Because they can come and say this is a good leader, but they don't want to say the badness of that leader. Let the other side also tell you, okay, he's good, but these are also his flaws, so that we make informed decisions. About the communication, which my little daughter Gen Z called Candy said, you are very right. But the one thing I also want you to know as you all sit here, the biggest problem we have in this country as far as government communication is concerned is the media. Somebody was clever enough to capture the media immediately the new president was sworn in. I can tell you for free, even if anything came from here newsworthy and they know about it, they will not report it. But if anything came from here criticizing the government, it will be the headline. This is a country where you do a good thing. I looked at even the headlines in Uganda about the SGR. They were all good. But read the one in Standard in Kenya. You wonder what is wrong. So the media is the reason why government communication is not reaching the people, because that is the only platform we have. You can't collect the whole country in a hall and speak to them. But nevertheless, even this one, because it is relayed live, and we will post it on, all of you must join our Gen Z group, and you can subscribe to Red Ring Media. You will find most of the videos there, and you are not supposed to believe in all of them. Just listen to them, watch them, and make informed decisions. Criticize some, reject some altogether if you think they are lies. But this will go and reach very many people. I've got people calling me from Orlov and saying they want to participate. And many times we used to do it for 50 and above. And I found that we can't sustain it, so we reduce it to about 8. But as you can see, you are about 13. Still, that is good enough. We can cope with it. So let us continue with this. Let us give each one of us free time to speak, even if they have a contrary opinion, so that we share what we know. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, from here, you once he has given you a leave to go, we are going to take tea down there today because the corridor was not good. I thought it would rain. So we are going to go to the restaurant in one table, 2 or 3, and have tea. Yes, but if your name is not with Cecilia, make sure she has it, because we will give you transport to go back home.
Who is Cecilia? Can I put your hand? You've seen her. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Face to Face with the Gen Z, a Red Ring Media production. This happens every Saturday as we have conversation between the young generation and the older generation, just to bridge the nexus that exists in between, especially in the information sector. Emmanuel Oma is my name, and this team has been, the production is driven by a wonderful team here. We have wonderful cameramen here. We have Harold, and we have Nyagol there, and we have Duncan and Jamal. A round of applause for those gentlemen. And of course, do make sure to have a date with us each and every day at Red Ring TV. Make sure that you subscribe because we have very insightful contents. FB, Facebook, Red Ring TV, and X, Red Ring TV. Until next time, greetings.
Don't forget the panel, surely.
Oh my goodness, gracious me. Sorry, let's start again. No, we have a wonderful panel. Apart from the audience that we have here, we have a wonderful panel and we want to appreciate them each one by one. We have Mrs. Joanne. She has been here with us. Joanne, asante sana. A round of applause. We have Mr. Advice Mundalo. A round of applause for Advice. We can do better than that, right? Yes, we have Mr. Tony Blair. A round of applause for him. And we have Mr. Owedi here. We will make sure that we don't blacklist him here so that he mentions and gives his wisdom. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And until next time, Emmanuel Oma is my name.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Asante.